There's so much of energy here. And I do think, and in the middle of this energy, I'm like, y'all are the youngest, but I'm the eldest here being here. But it's interesting. I am going to share with you today not only my journey of some incredible women. These women, they never had a opportunity to go to school, no travel, no degree. Ordinary women doing extraordinary things. So today I'm going to share the lessons I have learned from these women. I have been to Yale, Harvard, I have been to all these universities, but I always felt the lessons what these women taught me was so valuable. So I just think that you may also would like to share. I would like to share that, and I'm actually very thankful to your story to giving me an opportunity to share these lessons with you all. And I really liked She Sparks. And I just say, like, look at these women. Actually, they are sparking. And you would see what they have done it. So I am Chetna Gala Sinha, born and raised in Mumbai. I never thought I'll be going to the villages of India. I never thought that I'll be working in the villages. I was studying at a university as young as some of you, and was not even, I was in an undergraduate program. And in Bombay University, a Gandhian leader, Jayaprakash Narayan, came. And he said that he was very famous at that time. I'm talking in 1981. He said that, young people like you should work in the villages of India. And he was appealing all the youth that why don't you work in the villages of India, because India needs you. And I was very fascinated with this whole idea that India needs you. And I said that I want to work. And he said, but you will have to leave Bombay. I said, I'm ready to do that. And I traveled with him at the age of 20 all over India in the countryside of India. While traveling, I met a young farmer leader, handsome and dynamic. Fell madly in love with him. Decided to marry him. And you know what? I was doing my post-graduation. I was teaching economics. He had not completed his 9th grade also. But he was leading the Padyatra of the ex-Prime Minister Chandrasekhar ji. So I was like, we were in love, and I said, I'm leaving Mumbai and working with him. My family was horrified. They said, you won't be able to survive. And I said, but anyway, I have decided and I'll do that. And I'm so proud to share, as Rekha mentioned, that our parents sacrificed so much for us, right? So my father said that, okay, I don't agree with you, but you can go. And so from Mumbai, I shifted to a Maswad, a small village in Maharashtra. When I saw one thing, which even today remains in my mind, is that it was a drought-stricken area. Temperature was more than 48 degrees Celsius. And these women were doing the job of breaking stone. And I thought, where did I see this frame of breaking stones? And I remember you see in Bollywood movies, where the people get the life imprisonment and rigorous imprisonment, and then they get the work of breaking stone. So I felt these women have not done anything, so I need to do something and work with them. And so meanwhile, when I was staying with my family in the village Maswad, one lady, Kantabai, came to me. Kantabai is a blacksmith. She runs the business of blacksmith. She came to me and she said that I want to do savings. And I asked Kantabai that you do not have a house. You do your business on the street. Do you even have money to save? And she was insistent. She said, I want to save because I want to buy a tarpaulin sheet. In summer, the temperature here is 48 degrees Celsius. My children get epileptic in summer. And so I want a tarpaulin sheet to buy and want to do savings. I felt Kantabai is not asking for any grant. She's not asking any money from the government. What she's asking is the opportunity to save money in a secure place. It is her hard-earned money. So I said, okay, if you want to open an account, why don't we go to the bank? And we went to the bank. Bank manager denied opening the Kantabai's account. You know why? Because she wanted to save 3 rupees a day. So then I felt, if banks are not opening the account of women like Kantabai, why not start the bank? And I just decided that we'll start the women's bank. You know what? It was not an easy task. I went to Mumbai I mean, of course, I knew Mumbai very well. Went to Reserve Bank of India, and we made the proposal, showing all the businesses of women, everything, name, addresses, business. When signatures came, they had thumb impressions. They were not educated. So when we gave the proposal to Reserve Bank of India, they denied the license, saying that we cannot issue a license to the bank whose promoting members are non-literate. I came back from the Mumbai to my village. In bus, I was weeping for nearly 8 hours that we couldn't get the license. When I told our women that we are not getting the license because they cannot read and write, you know what they said? They said, why are you crying? We cannot read and write because there were no schools when we were growing. But we will learn to read and write from today. And our literacy classes started. After that, 5 months we went again. And at that time, I didn't go alone. With me, 15 women came to Reserve Bank of India. These are the women who went to Reserve Bank of India to talk to the director of Reserve Bank of India. And you know what they said? They said, you denied the license because we cannot read and write. But they said, we cannot read and write, but we can count. That was the another lesson. And they challenged the officer, ask us to calculate the interest of any principal amount. If we fail, don't issue the license. But tell your officers to do it without calculator and who can calculate faster. Needless to say, we got the banking license. And this was the first rural women's bank in India with no investors, no outside support, women capital, women saving, women credit. And I'm so proud to share with you that today we have impacted 1 million women. And I'm so glad that now Sheepsparks is going to that. And not only that, you know, these women, they started saving from 10 rupees, 15 rupees. But I'm proud to share that bank has a business of 500 crores. Can you imagine? We are the first bank to launch the pension scheme for rural women. But you know, when we started bank, women used to say that we cannot come to the bank because we are losing our working days. And so we said, if women cannot come to the bank will go to them. So we started a doorstep banking. And the first rural women's bank, when women started a doorstep banking, you know, women said that now there is a digital world. We also want to have ATM cards. We want to do digital banking. And I was like, you know, you all cannot read and write. We'll have to make a lot of effort to do that. But they were ready. And so we started this whole mobile banking, digital banking. And when we were doing that, we were doing financial literacy, digital literacy. And when we were doing, our women said that, you know, you provide PIN numbers, but we want something more. And we were like, PIN number is important, and we will have financial literacy. They said, no, we want, what about face? And we were like, that is a great idea. Not biometric also, but face. So at that time, only ICICI Bank had that. And so we said, this is in 2013-14. So we said, we'll have that. And then we designed the whole thing that women can use the digital wallet on the phone with their face recognition. And you know, when they used it, what they said? That they said that anybody can steal my PIN number. But nobody, मेरा कोई सर तो नहीं ना चुरा के ले लेगा, मेरा कोई अंगूठा तो नहीं ना चुरा के ले लेगा. So then we started a digital banking, and this is the first digital bank. And I'm so proud to share with you that all these women, they go to Yale, Harvard, and Oxford to share the experience of digital banking. Anyway, I'm just in the time. So we started a business school for rural women, and this is a business school on wheels where women can study on that. I would just like to share with you one more story. These are like different courses we have: vaccination, insemination, paravets. But one important story by Kerabai. One lady, Kerabai, came to me, and she was mortgaging gold to buy mortgaging gold in the bank. And I was like, I asked Kerabai that, why are you mortgaging gold? She said, there is such a bad drought, and there is no water, no fodder, and that is the reason I'm mortgaging gold. So we asked her that, okay, and she told me that, why don't you do something for water? And we said, okay, Kerabai, but we are bank. And she said, in search of water, if we leave this area, with whom are you going to do banking? So we started a cattle camp, and we started a water banks. But when we were doing that, Kirabai used to sing for the farmers for the hope of rains and water. And she had made some amazing poems on water, on environment. So we were like, Kirabai, we had a radio. So we said, why don't, Kirabai said, I will feature my program on radio. But then Kirabai could not read and write. So our manager said that, Kirabai, you cannot read and write. How would you feature your program on radio? So she said, I make my poems here. I don't need to read and write. And she started giving a program on radio. And now if you Google her, she has become a radio jockey, Kirabai. If you Google her. And I would just like to share with you that Rakesh Anand Bakshi, you know, everybody knows Bollywood songs. Anand Bakshi wrote many songs. His son was writing a book on radio jockey. He wrote a chapter on Kirabai. He asked her, where did you learn to sing, Kirabai? You know what she said? She said that when I got married at the age of 13, I got pregnant at the age of 14, and there was no food in the house. So to forget hunger, I started singing. That's how Kirabai started singing. So I just want to tell all of you that these women in such a situation, if they can become a radio jockey, what wonders y'all can do, right? So this is what, and one thing I've learned from these women using digital wallet, everything, what did they teach me? They taught me, never give poor solutions to poor people. They are smart. Now in my last part, I will just sit and finish my talk. You can see here the girl is riding a bicycle. So one day, one girl came to the bank and she said, I want to work for 2 months in the bank. And my question was like, you know, you are just 14 years. What work are you going to do? And she said, I'll work for 2 months in vacation. Don't give me any salary. Give me some work. And I want to go to high school. There's no bus. There's no transportation. So once I finish, you just give me a bicycle to go to school. And I've had amazing idea. She needs a bicycle to go to school. But you know, these girls, today we have given more than 14,000 bicycles for girls to go to school. And you know what these girls are doing? One of these girls, after getting bicycles, she became a very great athlete, Kajal. And we have a sports academy for girls. And this girl, she's playing field hockey. Last year, she played at Iceland and got a silver medal there. She is a sheep and goat rearer. I would say your story, invite these girls, let's hear their stories also. They are shining globally. And you know from where Kirabai says one big thing to us, and that is that all these women, what do they teach me? As I said, that the one thing they teach me is that never give poor solutions to poor people. But the one most important thing they teach me is that my courage is the capital. Kirabai always says that everybody, when I was going to Davos to co-chair World Economic Forum, and I asked Kirabai that, you know, all these women that I'm going to Davos, I'll be co-chairing World Economic Forum. What should I talk there? You know what our women said? Our women said that tell them at Davos, you may talk about millions and trillions. That's fine. Your capital is great. But for us, our courage is the capital. If your capital has to be courageous enough to invest in us. And I would say that all these, and I would say all of you that you courageous ladies, if you start something, there are many courageous women like these who are going to invest in y'all. With this, I would say that our next journey is that we are now setting up 1 million brand of these women, rural women entrepreneurs. They are on open network, digital commerce, e-commerce. So with this, in this event, I would just say that it is so energetic to talk to you all. And one thing I will tell you all lovely ladies, that, you know, we talk about work-life balance. And a lot of women feel a lot of guilt. We couldn't give enough time. Today, I'm beyond 60. You can see that, right? I don't have guilt. I didn't give time to my family, but my children went in a government school, did Ivy League, and they are again back in the village working with me. It's fine. It's fine. No guilt, not at all. Thank you so much. Namaste.